The Houston Rockets are one of those teams to where they can be hit or miss, hot or cold. And, going into the bubble, a lot of people said they had advantages from all the rest. And, we've seen James Harden pretty much flame out in a bunch of playoff series deeper, like against the Warriors and such, because, he was going for MVP seasons and then he would just get tired. His legs are worn out. But now we see a fresh James Harden who can give you around 40 or 50 a game easily. And which was looking good for the Rockets. They were positioning themselves to a third or fourth seed, and then they dropped off. We've seen there's an injury of Russell Westbrook. Reports have shown that he's going to miss the first couple of games within the series. So now we're just going to have James Harden alone out there initiating the offense with his team. And with Mike D'Antoni, they don't have a center. They pretty much have put in PJ Tucker at their 5. And this is very interesting as they're going against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. So within the Thunder, as well as with the Rockets, listen, the Houston Rockets, they're going to have the 4 seed, and then the Oklahoma City Thunder at the 5th seed, both at a 44-28 record. Going at it within here, PJ Tucker starting at their 5. They're going to continue their small ball when it comes down to it. Russell Westbrook is not going to play. I suspect he won't play the first 3 or 4 games. And the Thunder really have an advantage with their 5. This is going to be a big series for Steven Adams. Because pretty much when it comes down to it, he needs to be dominant in the post when it comes to the rebounds, and let alone that mismatch. With James Harden, he can be able to go off in the playoffs. The thing is, he had Chris Paul on his side for the past couple of seasons, so he was good with that. Whenever it was James Harden running the show, when he had Dwight Howard, Kevin McHale made sure they played a different type of way. James Harden pretty much wasn't ball dominant as much because they would have Jason Terry and a couple guards. And most different bigs. You would have Terrence Jones at your 4 or such like that. But the game has changed. James Harden's pretty much a point guard who's ball dominant, ball usage. Pretty much kind of like a ball hog, to be honest, when it comes down to it. And they're running a small ball brand of offense. So when it goes against the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team who has huge momentum, and when it comes down to it, motivation for Chris Paul. Because you got to remember, the Rockets traded away Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook. So they let go of 4 first-round picks. They got Russell Westbrook on their team. They pretty much used Chris Paul as a scapegoat against James Harden, why they lost to the Warriors, which turned it down in a bad way. Actually, if Russell Westbrook was healthy this series, I would have actually had the Rockets winning this in probably 6 or 5 games when it comes down to it. But since I foresee Russ to miss around 4 games, probably at least, I'm actually going to have to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder to win this in 6 games. I think Russ will come back when it's too late, probably when they're down 3-1 or something like that. But pretty much it's just Mike D'Antoni. Their only big is Tyson Chandler. He'll probably give him a couple minutes, or if anything. I don't like PJ Tucker playing at the 5. I don't like Russell Westbrook's injured, so you're going to have James Harden move back to the 1. You're probably going to have to start Ben McLemore at the 2. I doubt that they put Austin Rivers. I think he'll come off the bench when it comes down to it. But that's a detriment to this Houston Rockets team. They pretty much have been on the downfall when it comes down to it. And they really need, in the offseason, they really need to find a big man on their team, really reshape that team. But the Thunder, everyone knows their role. They play a beautiful brand of basketball. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's going to have a great series here. James Harden's not a defensive player to where he's going to lock up Chris Paul or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's going to be able to, because he's going to have to handle most of the offense to pull up 40 a game, pretty much if they want to survive until Russell Westbrook comes back. I think James Harden can give you a couple of games. I think his first game, he can give him like a 40-point performance. But after that, I think it's going to drop down. And it's where he's going to get tired, the durability, fatigue, and you're asking so much for him offensively. I can't see how the Rockets will lose this. When it comes to CP3 and the Thunder, they have a high Q brand of basketball. That's really going to win me over when it comes down to them. So pretty much here, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder winning this series in 6. Depending on whenever Russell Westbrook comes back, I'm just using the example. If it's 4 games he misses, definitely for the Thunder to win this series. But I'm excited to see James Harden play this brand of basketball, especially when he's had a bunch of rest, 5 months. And he's pretty much looking pretty good right now. So I'm curious to see what happens. I got the Thunder in 6. Would not shock me if the Rockets win this series. It just depends when Russ comes back. But let's see what happens here.